Slept on Cinema is sponsored by Training Ties, the ultimate shoe tying tool. If you know someone who's struggling with shoe tying for any reason, Training Ties is the perfect solution.
One of the strangest, horrible films I've ever seen.
It has painfully broad comedy, including a corpse getting a giant boner under a sheet.
Complete nonsense from beginning to end.
I don't know who let this happen, but I hope they're doing okay.
One of the dumbest movies ever made.
Denise Richards spends the whole movie crying over a robot that can barely move its mouth.
Welcome to this week's episode of Slept on Cinema. I'm your host, Stan Steamer.
And I'm Grobe Street.
This week, we're getting into a special film. It's our first live podcast ever. So we are live from the Dedham Community Theater. We're getting into the 1994, I think maybe you just have to say cult classic, because almost no one's heard of this movie, but Tammy and the T-Rex, which is one of my favorite films. And I didn't realize how much I loved this film until I watched it again preparing for this. But I think this might be a top 5 film of all time. I'm just going to put that out there.
I see why I hadn't seen it until we did this live event, and I now know why you've been holding on to it for this whole time.
Yeah.
It is now one of my top 5.
I've never met someone who has seen it that I haven't shown it to first. But I hope that after this podcast, that's going to change. This podcast, like all our podcasts, is structured so that the first half is spoiler-free. Talk about some things to look for in the film, take a break, go watch the film, come back and talk about what we just saw. And this film, like all others, somehow is at or below 50% on Rotten Tomatoes for both critics and audiences, which I find just shocking. I think if this movie came out now, this would have a totally different score.
Yeah.
But it blows my mind. But yeah.
Let's get to the rotten premise.
Let's hear it.
The rotten premise. A teen learns that a scientist implanted her dead boyfriend's brain into an animatronic dinosaur. Critic score, 43%. Audience score, 40%.
I mean, that description alone, I've never heard anything like that before in my life. It's brilliant.
It's also all you need.
It's all you need. It's short and sweet, and it's perfect. A little bit of background. This movie came out December 21st, 1994. Usually this is the point in the podcast where we would tell you where it opened, how much it made, what other films it came ahead of or behind, but there was no reported box office information on this film. It was reported not to do well. That's all I could find, so I couldn't tell you anything. But Dumb and Dumber came out at number 1 just a few days before this, so it had some good company at that point. But the real interesting background is sort of how this film came together. So the director of this film, he received a call from a man who runs South American movie theaters. He had a whole bunch of movie theaters all across South America. And this guy says, hey, I have a giant animatronic T-Rex. I have to deliver it to a theme park in Texas. I have 3 weeks. That's it. And I want to make a movie with it before I have to deliver it. I'll do $1 million. We don't have a script. We don't have a story. We don't have anything. We got 3 weeks to write a script, 3 weeks to to shoot the movie. Let's do this. The director was all in on $1 million budget, which is about $2.2 million today. So that's almost nothing for a movie. They wrote the script in 6 days. And I think the casting in this is where they really got lucky. Like, they clearly had the right people come into this casting, these auditions, because they have some movie stars in here that got their start. We have Denise Richards, we have Paul Walker, we have the guy we have Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. We all the characters in this have been in tons of other movies, and this is in a lot of instances their big break. Everyone does a great job here. Both Denise and Paul were trying to move on from modeling, which makes sense, beautiful people, to acting, and they were trying to get their big break. So neither of them had really had any experience before this. And they did a lot of things to try to keep the film budget low. They did all the movie shots were within 15-minute drive from the director's house. So I guess apparently a lot of the time gets lost just sitting in traffic. So they said everything will be within 15 minutes. It'll be quick to film this. While they were filming in one of the scenes, or I guess a bunch of the scenes in California, there were wildfires going on at the time as well. So you'll see a lot of shots of really smoky, hazy skies. The sun is red. And what happened was there were actual wildfires going on, and the fire department came to evacuate everyone from where they were filming. And they're like, we're a low-budget film. We can't afford to do that. We need every day counts. We only have 3 weeks. They went around, they said to the director at the time, how much cash do you have on you? at $200. They're like, give me a minute. Go over to the fire department. They bribed the fire department. They had 2 hours to finish filming. Back in the day, that $200 could get you that. So they filmed up all the shots, and they got some really good effects from it, which ends up working great in the film. Other thing you'll see here is quite a bit of animal acting. So the director also came up into the business as an animal wrangler. Him and his father worked with animals in the movies. They started with one animal and they sort of worked their way up. So he was an animal handler. They provided animals for a ton of different movies. And then he worked as a sound guy, as a cameraman. He pretty much had every job in the movie business. And then they made this film, and the version that we're going to see today is the sort of R-rated Gore Cut, which they had sort of lost for a long time. The original version, the director shot it. This is the director's cut. But then when he turned it over to the guy from South America, he was like, I can't show this to most people. I wanted a family film. So the director, the guy who paid for it, recut the film, made it PG-13, and hired some just really cheap people in South America to make all the credits and the production design and everything. So you will see at the beginning of the movie, despite the fact that this movie is called Tammy and the T-Rex, the beginning of the film will show it as Tanny and the Teenage T-Rex, which is not the name for this film. It is not the name of the character, but they did not have enough money to fix that. So you'll see that if you're confused by that. But then it wasn't until 2019 that some people found a copy of this film in Italy where it had originally been screened as the director's cut. And they were like, this film is a masterpiece. This is the original version, needs to be seen. And they re-released on a Blu-ray about 6 years ago. And that's the version we're going to see here. So I think this version is much better. The family film version, you'll see why there's a lot of gore, there's a lot of just fun stuff in here. So a little bit more background than usual, but I think that's like kind of crucial to understanding how this film came to be.
Great background, and the smoky stuff, the smoky scenery looks like it was intentional when you watch the movie. It seems like it's an incredibly intentional move because it works so well. But amongst other things to look for, Bolo, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for a giant knee brace.
Yep. I'm going to go the mom from Napoleon Dynamite. I want to say even the actors and actresses that didn't blow up still are now famous and have been in great roles.
Bolo, a provocative cheer routine.
You'll see it early. Bolo Buck Flower, who's also in Wishmaster. So this is our second Buck Flower movie. I think he's most known probably for being the homeless man in that scene in Back to the Future. But he gets a real role here. He's one of the cops.
Bolo biting a flower?
Yep. Bolo some 90s wrestling moves. You will see that.
Bolo a mutual crotch grab.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable scene. Bolo Rolls Royce. I feel like that must have spent a big piece of the budget running that.
Bolo a McPoyle, Lion McPoyle from Always Sunny. He's only in one episode.
I have a big one here, and I think this is going to really be great for some of the members of our audience here, but Bolo Roger Lodge from Blind Date. So, I know some people love that, and I'm just going to throw out some extra facts about Roger Lodge because I was a huge Blind Date fan, and we have a number of people in the audience who are as well. Blind Date ran from 1999 to 2006. There are over 1,400 episodes of Blind Date, which blew my mind. How everyone isn't watching this on Netflix doesn't make any sense to me. And little known fact, Roger Lodge, great three-point basketball shooter. He two times, 2004 and 2005, won the celebrity three-point contest at the NBA All-Star Weekend. So, good work for Roger Lodge.
It's a hard title to win for sure.
And great work in this film.
Bolo giggling.
Yep. Bolo a pee break. It's like surprising we've had a lot of films with pee breaks in them.
Bolo speaking in cliches.
I'm going to go Bolo white people dancing. And I mean white people as an adjective there. This is anyone of any race can dance like a white person. And there's a lot of white person adjective dancing in this film. You'll see it.
Bolo Bernie Lomax.
Yes.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Bolo a really fancy phone.
I'm just saying Bolo phones in general in this.
Yep. I'm going to say Bolo an homage to Jurassic Park. And not just for the dinosaur, but for the water glass.
Bolo kissing a condom.
Bolo puke.
Bolo a letter being a good number.
Bolo leather jackets. These guys pull off the LJs, I think, really quite well.
Very well, yep. Bolo great dick jokes.
Bolo bolt cutter. I always got to pay attention to that. I feel like those are basically magic.
Bolo alcohol going straight to the brain.
And I'll follow that up with Bolo, a giant flask.
Keep going. Bolo, a negotiation going poorly.
Yes. And Bolo, a payphone. Crucial plot element, payphone.
And Bolo checking for change in the payphone.
Mm-hmm. I'm running out of them here, but I will say Bolo, mice.
And last one, Bolo, because of the Gore Cut, Bolo heads being ripped off.
Yeah, the gore in this film, the special effects, I'm blown away with what they could do for such a small budget. It's amazing.
Moving on to our last segment before we get a break to watch the movie. What drink to best pair with this movie? So what drink would best pair when watching this movie? And for me, I got to go with, I very rarely pick something from the movie, but I think this is a little bit needing to be on the nose. And I'm going to go with a kamikaze with a vodka chaser. I think if you have a kamikaze with a vodka chaser, which is simply just triple sec, lime juice, and some vodka with some vodka on the side as the chaser, I think that's the perfect
It's the perfect drink. It's the perfect drink. I had the exact same thing. So we're on the same page there. It's the perfect drink, not only because it's in the film and that's always fun, but I actually think the kamikaze gets kind of a bad rap. Like, I feel like people think of it as a joke drink. Like no serious person is going to walk into a bar and get a kamikaze. You feel like you'll get laughed out of the bar. But it's a delicious drink. It's actually really good. So I think just like this film, a kamikaze is basically just a vodka margarita.
Yep.
There's no difference. And no one shames a margarita. So I think just like this film, it kind of gets laughed at, but it's actually amazing. So I think the kamikaze is perfect for on a number of levels.
Couldn't be more ready to watch this movie and can't wait to see what everyone thinks on the other side after we've seen it.
Yeah, enjoy.
Enjoy.
Everything in Tammy's life is just great. But when you're young and in love, life can get very complicated, especially when it involves an insanely jealous creep, late-night phone calls, sneaking around in your own house, your boyfriend getting dumped in a wild animal park, and a crazy doctor who turns out to be a mad scientist with an insane invention that only needs a brain. But this Tyrannosaurus Rex just wants to be a party animal. Even when you tell the truth, nobody believes it anymore.
It was a dinosaur.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
Welcome back. That was unbelievable. This is a film unlike anything else I've ever experienced in my entire life.
I am so glad I saved the watch for this event and for the in-person, because that movie is very unique. There is no movie like that.
Yeah. And thanks again to everyone who came out. We did the first half of the podcast live at the Dedham Community Theater. A number of folks showed up and then screened the film there. And it was awesome to see this on the big screen. I'd seen it, I don't even know, a number of times before that, but obviously never on a big screen. And it was as it was meant to be seen. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I'll get to that a little bit later as far as how I think this was the way to see the movie, but I'll hold on to expand on that a little bit later till we get to that part. But I'm super pumped about the draft. I feel like there's so many things to choose from, and I can't tell if there's 10 first overall picks. It's just
I know.
My list is way too big, so I can't wait to see what you go with first.
It's way too long. It's way too long. All right, I'm just going to dive right in. And because my list is so long, I feel like I'm going to take one that's kind of a cheat I'm taking, but I'm going to go with the casting. Whoever was in charge with the casting absolutely nailed it. The fact that they had to cast this on obviously a super short time frame, where they had a couple weeks before filming, so they had a couple weeks to cast this, and the people not only absolutely nail the leads, right? Denise Richards and Paul Walker, unknowns, right? They're mostly doing modeling work. They've done a couple tiny things here and there, but to put them as the leads in your film, they saw something that clearly other people hadn't seen yet, and they just nailed it. But then they up and down the whole lineup is absolutely amazing. Terry Kaiser is the doctor. The Ellen Dubin playing Helga, every single character was so perfectly cast. It was perfect. And on the compressed time frame, it's maybe they should just be casting every movie in 3 days. Cause this was, I can't imagine a better cast for this film. It was as if everyone was sort of born to play the characters here. And I think this is Denise Richards' best performance in her entire career.
I almost picked this, but I guess I'll just piggyback it on to yours. But like Denise Richards is incredible in this. If there's one part where she's giving like this heartfelt, like tearful exchange, and then if you didn't know that the camera was going to pan to a T-Rex, that you'd think that this was going to be like, I don't know, maybe on her reel if she was going for an award. Like it's that good, and then it just pans to a T-Rex. It's almost like she just gave it like everything, and so did the whole cast. There's a few people like that, but her especially. I thought she was just so. No wonder why they blew up after this. It's incredible that not only did they find Denise Richards, but they found Paul Walker, who went on to the Fast and Furious after this. Like,
yes,
the casting just to find one alone. I remember you think of like I was thinking of like the Leprechaun and how that has like Jennifer Aniston at a young age, but this is like two people at a young age that become super mega stars. It's incredible, and you're right. They should just become professional cast. Just that's what they do. Just cast for movies because this is insane.
Yes. I mean, it's like, do you think there's a chance that Denise Richards could end up with like a Lifetime Achievement Award at some point in her career, and we could get that Tammy and the T-Rex scene in the reel?
I think I think if they put it in the reel and people hadn't seen like the whole reel and it's just part of a montage, you wouldn't know what movie it was in. I don't know if it's Wild Thing or some other thing that she was in, but you wouldn't tell. It's so good. It's so good. I'm glad you brought her up specifically.
Yeah, I mean, she was amazing. Paul Walker was perfect, but Denise Richards, she really blew me away. I mean, she's good in a lot of other movies, but I think this is her best film. Her like that sort of the innocence that she has, it's just so believable. It's unreal.
They both were like they drew off of each other. Her and Paul Walker. I mean, the chemistry was just like, are they dating? It was insane how well they just pretended to like be a couple. It was Hardest in a Bottle too, because it was like you said, it was like very joyful and very innocent and just perfect timing. Not just the cast, but when you got them too. I was trying to think of like an analogy for
absolutely.
Like such. It's not like it's Tom Brady and someone else, like getting someone so late on such a minimal, like you wouldn't expect on such a low budget to get these like premier superstars that carry blockbuster movies later on in their career.
Yeah. And two of them. It's catching lightning in a bottle twice.
That's a great, I mean, you kind of have to go with that. Mine, I just got to go with the testicular standoff. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that or will see in another movie. And it just keeps going on. And it starts one way and it's just this wild dance after a long like WWE fight. And it's just a perfect way to wrap that up. And I just, the commentary, how the cops show up. There's the whole like group of students that are watching this. And just the whole refusing to let go, the testicular standoff, the stubbornness, it was just perfect. And then the reveal at the end that he had a cup on, and it was just poetic. It was so well done.
Yep. It was so good. There are a bunch of funny stories behind it too. That was actually one of the very first scenes they filmed in the movie. And I think they added it to the script at the last minute. So they like go into the trailer they had set up, and Paul Walker and George Pilgrim, who plays Billy, were in there. And the director's like, the writer and the director are like, here's what the scenes did. They're like, you've got to be kidding me. This is insane. We can't do this. They're like, no, this is how we're doing it. And they, they were both just starting out, and this is literally day one of shooting. And they're like, well, okay, we got to do it. And they're like, don't worry. We're like, here are these cups. You'll wear these cups. Like, it'll be fine. They try them on, and they're just like, these are so uncomfortable. This is not going to work. So but the guy's like, no, you have to wear these. This is like what we're doing. You have to wear these. And then they're like, fine, yeah, we'll wear them. And then the casting, the director and the writer, they leave, and they're like, we're not wearing these things. So they did this thing. They just did it. They just did it raw. They ended up doing it, no cup. And it sets the movie off right. And it's this scene that establishes, you get all the different characters, you get the ridiculousness of it, you get the crazy dialogue. The whole thing is it's great. It's a great
and that's
thing.
Part of the casting age too. That's a decision you make probably as an actor. You do early on in your career. You're probably not going to do the testicular standoff without a cup, or maybe even have a stunt double later on in your career. That's not something you do totally raw unless it's your first movie.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and you've got the like 90s era WWE moves going in there too. It's the whole thing was just so well
coming off
done.
the double elbow drop. It was
Yeah, exactly.
incredible. My second pick, this is so tough. I'm going to go with the striptease for the brain jar at the end. If you just showed someone that scene, they'd be like, what is going on with this like extended striptease at the end for the brain of the jar? But when you watch the movie and it gets to that point of the movie, you're like, oh, this makes perfect sense that they would have this
Makes
striptease.
perfect sense. Yeah.
And it's the perfect way to end the movie. So
Mhm.
I gotta go with the striptease for the brain in the jar.
Yeah. And it's funny because now we have the career of Denise Richards. She's been a James Bond girl. She obviously Wild Things. At the time, she was not didn't obviously that she was just starting out, and she was incredibly uncomfortable about that scene. She's like, I can't do this. This is I don't know how to do this. And they're like, no, we'll figure it out. And they went to Victoria's Secret and just picked out stuff to wear, and then they coached her through it, and she nails it. I mean, it's a crazy scene, but she does it well, and it's great because, as you said, like it's a completely just bonkers scene. There's so many scenes like that in this film that I think if you just show someone for 5 minutes and they'd be like, "What is this? I need to see way more of this," and that's definitely one of them.
And I like just the sparks going off on the brain too, to show how
Oh yeah,
excitement and just like you
yep,
get the technology of what this would look like in this world. It makes complete sense.
total sense. My second pick, and I guess this sort of piggybacks off of my casting pick, but I'm going with the choice of really everyone in the film just playing it straight, just playing, especially Paul Walker and Denise Richards. Like this movie is obviously a complete farce. Like it's completely bonkers, batshit, just like crazy film. And you could see there's a version of this where somebody might say, all right, we're going to really ham this up. We're like, we know we're going to take this in a different direction. Everyone in this plays it straight. And that's what makes the movie, right? Like the fact that everyone in this is taking it so seriously, giving these great performances. Within the film, it is not ridiculous, which makes it even more enjoyable. This is actually real in the film. And I guess part of the background of that was that all these actors were starting out and they were trying to make their casting tape, right? Like they're trying to make their reel, then they can parlay this into their next job, and you got to have some good scenes to show. So that's, you don't know if this thing's going to take off, but at least you can get something, a couple minutes for your tape. And that's another situation where just because of the way they cast people, because they got people that were starting off, it just worked out perfectly. And it just made the film. If this had been more jokey, like if this was, I don't know, sort of more like Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber-esque, it would still be entertaining, but it would not be as good as this film was.
Yeah, and if they were like in a like Sharknado-y, tongue-in-cheeky thing, it would hit
Yes.
different, and it just worked better that they were all so committed to it. And that's what separates, I think, this from there's other movies that are like this, and it's the actors and actors sort of understand it. Even the Leprechaun, like I brought up before, is a little bit like that. But this is just like you can't tell the type of movie that it is from a lot of the reaction from the people. That's a great choice.
My third pick, and this is really, honestly, this is my third first round pick because this movie is just chock full of first rounders. I am going with just the audacity of this film. That the fact that someone says, I have a mechanical dinosaur for 3 weeks, I got $1 million, let's make a movie. And then they did it, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's one of those ideas that 999 people out of 1,000, even if they have the idea, they're going to say, no, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else. And these guys said, no, let's do it. They came up with this idea and they did it. And it's sort of like against all odds. It came together perfectly. And I just love the idea that someone sort of had the balls to do this.
It seems like something that you would just say as an idea, but it does take the audacity to actually see it through and pull it off and get the cast together and make this a good movie all around this very silly idea. But to pull it off, the audacity is, I mean, that's a great choice.
Right. I mean, it's like Who among us hasn't had a mechanical dinosaur for 3 weeks, right?
Right.
And yet none of us have done what they did here. It's just amazing.
Was it Lake Placid we did before where they built a movie on spec because they had that we did before?
I think that's right.
Yeah. And it's like, it takes a certain level to be like, all right, I don't know what we're doing, but we have this and it doesn't really matter what else we fill in around it. And that's kind of like, we talked about this. It's going a little tangent, but like disaster movies, you just need like a loose plot to get to what you want to show. And for this one, it was showing the T-Rex doing cool things and just throwing a great cast.
Yeah. Don't overthink it.
My pick again, third pick.
Yep.
I think I'm going to go with the morgue scene. I was a big fan of the choosing between the bodies. And then like, it could have easily been like 1 or 2 minutes with a joke, but they kept doing different bodies and they had to come up with a different rationale as to why. And then, you know, subtle things just like, why aren't you picking this body? And then they wouldn't say it. And it was all just like hilarious. I heard my wife in the theater when we were watching it live laugh at, I couldn't tell if it was a scoff or a laugh at like the head scratching and the thumbs down and like the T-Rex saying yes or no to the bodies in the window. And I just thought that whole scene was just phenomenal, going between, all the different reasons to pick the body and not pick the body. And just how long they gave that scene was great.
Yep. Yeah, it was amazing. There's so many little scenes that themselves could almost just be like a sketch in a like sketch comedy show, right? Like that scene on its own could have just been a sketch.
Yep.
Really any scene that has the dinosaur's arms. Any scene with those arms is just fantastic.
That's probably but a lot of the scenes I have written down are just like this. Yeah, it has the arm in it. Yeah, that's such a great element. And my sleeper, I think I'm gonna go with the disembodied voices, which is always a favorite of mine. But this one does it well. It's just like what that means is just when you don't see the body of the voice, so it's disembodied. So like it's like in the crowd when they're fighting, someone yelling like, "There's not much to grab onto," when they're like doing the testicular handoff. And it's just like little yells like that just add to the element. And you just know they throw it in, in editing afterwards. And that's one of my favorite things in fun movies like this is just like the stuff they add in to just like pretend like somebody in the crowd is yelling that one line. And there's so many great ones of just so many like goons in Billy's squad that just say like little one-off things or like other students in the school. That's just, if you're not paying attention, I recommend turning on the subtitles and just seeing what the nonsense that's being yelled. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's everyone involved with this was just having a great time, and that you can feel that watching the movie.
For sure.
Man, I feel like we're gonna have to do some honorable mentions here as well. But my sleeper, these just killed me. Tammy's excuses to her parents. She has 2 of them, and they're excuses that I cannot wait to use. And they're another one of these things where I hope when I reference them, I'm gonna have to probably reference them thousands of times. I just want one person to pick up on what I'm referencing. But the 2 excuses early on when Michael's over at Tammy's house and they're he climbs up the trellis, sneaks in the house, and knocking over a whole bunch of stuff in her room. The dad calls up on the phone and she goes, "Oh, I just knocked my dictionary over." It's like, what an amazing excuse.
So good.
Oh, of course, your dictionary, because that's a thing you just have out and are using all the time. And then later in the film, after the dinosaur sort of pulls her out the window and the room's a huge mess, she goes, her dad comes in and is like, "Oh, what the hell happened here?" She just says, "I think it was just a meteor or something." It's just like, and no one questions her on any of these things. They're just they're sort of perfect reflections of her character's innocence, and also just, I don't know, it's just strangely believable, but also completely outlandish. They just cracked me up.
Yeah, those are great. I forgot about the meteor one. The dictionary one was just amazing. Just like subtly being like, really doing my homework, Dad. It's the dictionary. It's so good.
Yeah, right.
And we got
a couple honorable mentions.
I was just gonna go with the phones, just for thinking of that scene. The phones,
like
the pay phones, and the phone she had in her room, and other phones in this movie are just hilarious.
Yeah, the phone in her room was like a work of art. I don't know what that thing was. Is it an antique?
And I think it got calls from inside the house too. It was the dad
It
calls.
did, yeah.
And from Paul Walker. Very advanced phone.
The first dino shot, I mean, obviously the first time you see a dinosaur in any movie is an important one, and they knew it here, and they had the smoke or the steam coming out behind it. It was just, they played it up just right. I love that. And that was also an excellent place to see that in the theater. I feel like that just really hit hard on the screen, the big screen. Tammy's family, their loungewear, absolutely fantastic loungewear. I don't know who was in charge of that, but the slippers, the robes, everything was just nailed it.
I think Tammy's family's doing well.
Yes.
I like seeing Bernie. I almost just picked
Oh,
up
yeah.
Bernie. His acting in this was just like, when he came on the screen, it was so very hard. It shows the caliber of this movie that he was not an official draft pick, but him in this movie was just amazing.
Right. If it's a different actor in that role, this movie isn't nearly what it is. He like tied the whole movie together. It was amazing.
And it's a strange way of acting. Like, it's over the top, but it worked so well. And I couldn't even imagine somebody else doing it. We had Drive Angry, where I forget the name of the actor, where he acted as like the secretary of like hell. And we're like, oh yeah, that's exactly, or the accountant of hell. And we're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it was. And it felt the same way here. Like, he made the character seem like that's exactly how this crazy scientist would act. And of course, he would have that assistant with him. Yeah, of course.
My other, just a couple more honorable mentions. Riding a T-Rex. I mean, that's just awesome. It's just fantastic. I can't imagine doing something better. And then just the climbing the trellis. Love like climbing a trellis into your like girlfriend's window. That also is a top thing to do. Period.
Yeah, we could probably keep going on here, but do you have any anti-picks for this one? I have a glaring one.
Not really.
So, being as one, and I have many of these in my family. My dad is one. His dad is one. My son is sneakily one. My sister's husband is one. And his dad is one. And many, many more. But I do not like the representation of the name Bob or Bobby in this movie. It's absurd. The Uncle Bob, the drunk, and he could barely utter a word. It's like, all right, Uncle Bob, that's fair. I am an Uncle Bob. I had an Uncle Bob. My kids have Uncle Bobs. Already, that's a little hit. That's fine. I get it. But then they had to do the scientist. He had to be Bob too, Bobby too. Like, there's two goofballs in this movie, and they both have to be Bob and Bobby. So a bit much with the abuse of the name Bob.
Yeah, that is weird. That is weird, given that there's not that many characters here. It's weird that two of them are named Bob.
Seems unnecessary, except you have something against. I did a little research to see
they might have had
an agenda with the director or a writer with the Bob, and I couldn't find anything that stuck in the Bob forums.
Yeah, I mean, there had to be. There's no way. This is not an accident.
And aside from the name thing, I really despise, this happened, she became a one-legged girl, but at the party, she's dancing with the bigger guy, and she gave the dismissive finger kiss, and then the touch. Huge, not a fan of that. If anyone ever was to do the kiss and then the touch, it's like, all right, we're parting ways, and I hope I never see you again. Big time anti-kiss and touch.
You don't see that much anymore.
I think people realize to not do that. Nobody wants that. Lose is terrible.
Yeah, no one wants. No one wants that.
Superlative. This is a great one that you chose. Superlative favorite low budget special effect, which there's quite a few choices.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these films. Again, they did this on $1 million, which is 2 point something today's dollars. But that's what they were able to accomplish with that budget. Is I don't know how they did it. It's really amazing. And I feel like they did a good mix of sort of things that were a little funny, where they sort of acknowledged that they didn't have the budget. And then there was also things that I was like, no, that's actually like a legit effect. There's a lot that I liked, but the one that just really got a good chuckle out of me every time, which falls into the latter category, or I guess the former category of saying sort of things that were a little obvious that they had a low budget, but Smushed Carl. I just love the completely flattened Carl when they're like rolling him up and dragging him back in the next day. I don't know why, but it just cracks me up literally every time that comes up on the screen. It's just perfect.
It's so over the top ridiculous, and they just don't address it. It's just like just
Not at
rolling
all.
them up.
Yeah.
And just like with anything else, it's so seriously done. Like, we got to roll.
Right. Right. It's like, you could have gone with any number of like gory head rippings or guts or surgical scenes, but the smushed Carl just really did it for me.
Yeah, Smush Carl is like, I love when movies just let a part go. It would happen for like Spy Hard or like Leslie Nielsen movies or other ones where I like it when that's similar to like they have to have a body double, but they don't have the money, so they just have like a sack and they put on like pillows and they just use it and it's very clear and everyone's just fine with it. I mean, when they do that in movies, it's just like, yeah, it's better off that we all know it's fake. Let's not pretend. Let's just, let's just make it obvious and funny and move past it.
Right. And like, I don't know, maybe that's what happens when someone gets smushed by an animatronic dinosaur.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah. Man, that was great. There's a couple scenes that make me chuckle just like that one. I almost picked the phone call from the T-Rex, but that goes into more of the hand thing that we already addressed. Mm-hmm. But I think this makes me laugh too, but the wild cats attack scene with the different all the different cats just coming out. He climbs a tree, and then the final mauling by the lion just jumping up at him. I just thought it was just like, it was clearly, not Paul Walker, and it was just so well done, but also well
done. It was so well done. I was like, I would have thought that alone would have blown the budget, let alone everything else they do. I mean, it's got to be expensive to get a lion to attack somebody.
Yeah,
like I don't know how much that cost. It feels like it should be a lot.
And they let him go for a couple extra seconds, like a lion attack scene. Usually it's like, they jump at you and like, I guess something happened. But he was on the ground getting bit for a while there.
I mean, with the director's pedigree, right, where he came up into the business as an animal wrangler, you knew he wasn't going to let that scene go short.
Right, exactly.
And maybe he still got some sort of discount.
That was just great. And seeing jumping from one wild cat to the next, like from cheetah to lion to jaguar, you're just like, this is amazing. Which one's going to get him? It's hard not to mention the brain surgery scene too. I mean, that one was so like...
Yes, I mean, the brain, that was almost one of my draft picks. That could have been a first round pick. I considered taking it in the first round. The mannequin, it made me wonder. I was like, did they cast Paul Walker just because he looked just like this mannequin? Because the mannequin looks just like him.
It's so good.
In my mind, he walked in the door for the casting, the audition, and they're just like, they have like the mannequin. Like, we can only afford this one mannequin. We just, whoever looks like him gets the part. Paul Walker walks in, they're just like, done, it's yours.
And that one mannequin design spawned a whole entire career. Next category are bumper sticker. What line from the movie would you most like to see on a bumper sticker of a car?
I'm really torn here between two things, but I think I'm going with dead is as old as you're going to get.
Pretty good.
I don't really know what it means, but I kind of like what it like intimates in some way. And it obviously, like, I feel like the meaning doesn't really tie into how it was used in the film, but I think I could see that as a bumper sticker, and I could see somebody like thinking it's really deep.
Yeah, right. There's another extra layer that we don't get, but really it's just poor communication. But that's great. I went with "Ain't You Got No Balls." That's just someone who pulls up next to you and they're revving their engine. You just like, it's probably a crappy car too. You just let them go.
Yep. Yep. Oh, I almost went with "Hang on to your boobs, girl. It's going to be a bumpy ride." That's more something I just want to say in a car than a bumper sticker, but could be a bumper sticker too.
Oh, absolutely. I like just putting it out there when she was like, from the bedroom scene, Denise Richard, "I'm tired of being alone." I just like seeing that, just having someone driving around, just letting it be known.
Yeah, you don't see very many bumper stickers with that level of openness.
Right, yeah. Length, perfect. Right around.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
That was perfect. It couldn't have been. It was just perfect. I mean, I said this before, that this is almost a perfect movie for me. It's This movie it's one of my favorite films. It's amazing.
It's definitely a scene where, having watched for the first time, each time a scene comes on, I could see how this would come on. And then you'd be like, well, I can't turn it off because what next scene is about to come up.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This could be a tough one, but what one change would make this a blockbuster?
Yeah, for me, and this was just I think a mark of the era, is like the early mid-90s, where it seemed like, I guess in most pop culture shows, if you had a gay character, you had to have these really just cringy gay jokes. And watching that now, they really stand out, and they're also don't really fit with the film. Like the rest of they feel out of place. Besides the fact that they're just like incredibly gross and like cringy, they just feel out of place. Like I just don't. Watching the movie now, maybe it was different back then, I don't know, but watching the movie now, it doesn't feel right. It's like it's almost feels like someone stuck those in after the fact to try to get some cheap laughs or something. But as I mentioned, I think this movie is pretty flawless. So I think that you could snip those out pretty easily and you're in good shape.
Yeah, totally get that. That definitely changes the vibe a little bit.
Yeah,
for sure. And definitely an easy change to make a few more people happier. I had one that isn't about the movie, but what we did, the one change to be a blockbuster, I think watching it, how we did it in a theater like that, just like these, not old timey, but just like sort of vintage theaters where you typically have those like midnight showings of like The Room and other movies like that. I saw Point Break at one in Coolidge Corner in Brookline, which is like the perfect theater. But watching a movie like this, you go see The Room and you throw spoons at the screen and all that sort of thing. This seems like the type of movie that would have this like latent blockbuster effect where who knows when it could happen. All of a sudden people start coming into theaters and like this seems like an in-person theater event type of movie. So I think the one change would be a blockbuster would somehow magically get people to go to a theater and see this in a communal experience, because it's just not the same watching at home alone if you can find it
totally
versus with other people. It just seems like the best way to watch this movie.
That's a great point. We're talking about what would make this a blockbuster. It's like, I don't know, releasing it in theaters. The fact that this wasn't released in theaters like that is insane to me.
Yeah, the Dedham Community Theater, obviously in Dedham, Massachusetts, where we had it. And the movie of a movie like this, just seems like that's crazy that this wasn't released in theaters, because that is the perfect way to watch this movie.
Yeah.
You need to see that somebody else be like, that was funny, right? Like you need a few other people to just like justify that it's okay to laugh to enjoy this movie.
Right. I mean, it was so fantastic watching it in a theater, and it wasn't, the theater wasn't jam packed, but it made me want to watch it again in a theater that is jam packed. Like
Absolutely.
I feel like I need to make that happen.
That's like, yeah, exactly. That us not having it jam packed, maybe want to have, in the next couple of years, we do that again with it being jam packed. I bet it'll be so much fun. So outside of that, for the movie, I would find out a way. I know they had the dummy that just looked like Paul Walker. If you could somehow like, almost like using that fake dummy thing, like wheel the corpse of almost like Bernie, Paul Walker around. He's just too beautiful with those blue eyes to take off the screen. So most of the movie, you could be looking at Denise Richards and Paul Walker. It was a treat in the beginning, and then you get, the T-Rex is great, but let's just wheel him around. I mean, my goodness, this is Paul Walker. We got to keep him in the movie to keep the everyone interested. So I would just somehow find a way, in some goofy way, to keep him on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. It's like he's like one of the like handsomest people that's ever walked the earth, and they get him off the screen pretty quick.
Right. Born Skull energy. You got to just keep him on the screen.
Yeah.
This is I had a lot of fun with this one. It could go any different way, but spin-off ideas. What do you got for this?
For me, I thought the Dr. Wachenstein and Helga dynamic I just ate that up. I wanted so much more of that. So I want the sort of the prequel. I want to know how they ended up here. They've clearly, the first scene we see them in the hospital, they clearly have a history together. They've been doing this stuff for a while. I want to know how they got to where they got here. I want to know everything. I want to know how they got together. I want to know what they do. I want to know, I just want those two characters could carry their own movie, and I'm certain of it. So I want the prequel of them, and I want those two actors. I think it would be fantastic.
Their story must be great because they're so comfortable with each other. They know each other so well in that movie. They both knew how to react to the squished Carl, and like they must have seen some stuff to just roll up someone like that.
Oh yeah,
and not be phased at all. The origin story would be great. Mine is
it'd be fantastic.
But you got the origin. Mine goes beyond. So it feels like in the realm of this, I can sort of see the box cover if there was a second. This is almost like Saved by the Belly, but Tammy and the T-Rex go to college. So this one, a college with an amazing robotics program agrees to rebuild Michael, a perfect Paul Walker body clone, but only if he helps their terrible football team win the national championship as a T-Rex against Big State. So it's a little bit of what is the one where they turn into a werewolf? Teen Wolf, obviously.
Yep.
Gotta stay the T-Rex, and then he gets the body. Their final opponent, though, is Big State, which is led by Billy's dad, who wants nothing more than to keep him in that body the rest of his life. So Tammy and the T-Rex go to college. I feel like Disney was fine with just having I guess it was in the 90s too with Air Bud, but like just non-people playing sports. So a T-Rex playing, sure. Why not?
Right.
See how that goes.
Yeah.
And then he has to, maneuver the social dynamics of dating in college and then bringing his girlfriend from high school to college. Is the star athlete. Does he date the new girl? So all of those like teen or whatever college dynamics wrapped up into them in college.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That'd be so. and we then end up with a 3 movies.
Right.
A trilogy. This is perfect.
Our final segment, Tying Up Loose Ends, sponsored by Training Ties. Do we have any notes that we didn't get to?
Let's see.
Oh, I like calling a premeditated wild game animal kidnapping murder an accident. I like that.
Yeah. A lot of very casual with the reactions to that by other high school students. I feel like I got most of my other things.
Yeah, I'm all out.
I mean, that was great. That, like I said, that's one of my favorite films. I hope because of this episode, more folks see it because it is slept on in the truest sense.
The Gore Cut is great. If you can't find the Gore Cut, I think the regular one's on Tubi right now. So
yeah.
Coming up next, I think we have Amy want to watch Congo?
Exactly. It's a little bit of a delay after we squeezed in this special episode, but we'll finally be getting to Congo next.
Yeah, the gray gorilla is not a myth. That one's awesome. I think we both got that at the theater. This was so much fun. Until next time. Later.
Yeah, and thanks again to the Dedham Community Theater for letting us host there. It was a perfect event space, a great theater. Highly recommend if you're in the area, make a trip over. We'll see you guys later.
All right, later.